Hello, English learners. Welcome back to Daily English Talks. I'm Mia, and today we're going to explore essential phrasal verbs for daily conversation. Phrasal verbs are a key to sounding natural and fluent in English. They appear everywhere, in work conversations, in casual chats with friends, and even in the media you consume every day. But many learners find them confusing. Today, I'll guide you slowly and clearly through phrasal verbs you can use in real daily life, with plenty of examples and practice exercises you can repeat after me. Together, we'll practice until these expressions feel natural on your tongue. So let's begin. When you wake up in the morning, one of the first phrasal verbs you can use is get up. You don't just say, I wake in English. You say, I get up at 7, or I got up late today. Now repeat with me. I get up at 7. Again, I get up late today. Notice how natural it sounds compared to just wake. You can practice with your own routine. Say, I get up at 6:30 to go jogging, or I get up at 9 on weekends. This is one of the most basic, but also most common, phrasal verbs in daily life. After you get up, you might need to turn off your alarm, or maybe you switch off your phone's alarm. Notice how turn off and switch off are interchangeable here. Try repeating with me. I turn off my alarm. I switch off my alarm. Now, let's use it in a different way. Please turn off the lights before you leave the room. Repeat. Turn off the lights. You can also say, she forgot to switch off the television before bed. Practice these lines until they flow naturally. Another morning action is wash up. In English, you don't usually say, I wash my face every single time. You can say, I wash up quickly before breakfast. Or in some places, wash up also means to clean the dishes. Context is important. Repeat with me. I wash up before dinner. I wash up after playing outside. When talking about dishes, you can say, I'll wash up after we eat. Try it with your own example now. Now imagine you are preparing breakfast. You may cut up some fruit. Repeat with me. I cut up an apple. She cut up some vegetables for the soup. Notice how cut up emphasizes dividing into smaller pieces. Without the up, the meaning feels incomplete. Practice. I cut up the bread for the children. After eating, maybe you need to clean up. This phrasal verb means to tidy or put things in order. Say with me, I clean up the kitchen after breakfast. He cleaned up his room before the guests arrived. Let's clean up before the party. It's very common in everyday conversation. Now let's move to travel and movement. If you go outside, you might set off for work or school. Repeat with me. I set off for work at 8. We set off early to avoid traffic. It's a simple but useful way to describe the beginning of a journey. Another phrasal verb connected with travel is pick up. You can pick up a friend in your car, or you can pick up some groceries. Repeat, I'll pick up my brother from school. Can you pick up some milk on your way home? Let's practice a short role play together. Imagine you are talking to a friend. I will say the first line, and you repeat the second. Me. When do you get up on weekdays? You. I get up at 7. Me. Do you usually clean up after cooking? You. Yes, I clean up right away. Me. Can you pick up some bread later? You. Yes, I'll pick up some bread after work. Good. Practicing phrasal verbs in context makes them stick in your memory. Another useful daily verb is put on. You put on clothes, you put on shoes, you even put on a smile. Repeat. I put on my jacket before going outside. She put on her shoes quickly. He put on a big smile when he saw his friends. Try creating your own sentences now. When you come back home, you take off your shoes or your coat. Say with me, I take off my shoes at the door. She took off her coat and sat down. He always takes off his watch before bed. Put on and take off are often taught together. Another situation is work or study. At work, you might hand in a report. Repeat, I will hand in my assignment tomorrow. She handed in her project before the deadline. It simply means to submit. You can practice with, I'll hand in the paper next week. In conversations, phrasal verbs often make your speech sound softer or more natural. For example, instead of cancel, you can say call off. Repeat. They called off the meeting. The game was called off because of rain. It sounds natural and conversational. Try. We had to call off the trip. Let's pause for a mini practice exercise. I'll give you a simple sentence and you try to replace the verb with a phrasal verb. Sentence. I canceled the class. Answer. I called off the class. Sentence. I submitted the report. Answer. I handed in the report. Sentence. She removed her coat. Answer. She took off her coat. Sentence. He began his journey at 9. Answer. He set off at 9. Excellent. Phrasal verbs also appear in conversations about relationships and emotions. For example, get along with, you can say, I get along with my neighbors. She gets along with her colleagues very well. Try repeating, do you get along with your classmates? Another one is break up. They broke up last year. He doesn't want to break up with her. Repeat these with me slowly. Imagine a dialogue. Me. Do you get along with your boss? You. Yes, I get along with him very well. Me. When did they break up? You. They broke up last year. Good practice. Notice how naturally these phrasal verbs fit into real conversations. Now, let's try another practice activity. I will describe a situation and you give me the phrasal verb. Situation. You stop a relationship. Answer. Break up. Situation. You start your journey. Answer. Set off. Situation. You submit homework. Answer. Hand in. Situation. You cancel a plan. Answer. Call off. Excellent. Keep repeating these until they feel automatic. In phone conversations, phrasal verbs are especially common. For example, hang up. Repeat. Don't hang up the phone. She hung up suddenly. Another one is pick up when answering. Can you pick up the phone? He picked up on the third ring. These are everyday expressions that make you sound fluent. To reinforce learning, let's build a short daily conversation using several phrasal verbs we practiced. A. What time do you get up? B. I get up at 6:30, then I wash up and make breakfast. A. Do you clean up after cooking? B. Yes, I clean up the kitchen right away. A. When do you set off for work? B. I set off at 8. A. Can you pick up some groceries on your way home? B. Sure, I'll pick up some fruit. This kind of practice will help you use phrasal verbs naturally in your own life. Phrasal verbs also express emotions. For example, cheer up, repeat. Cheer up, everything will be fine. He tried to cheer her up after the bad news. Another one is calm down. Please calm down, there's no need to worry. Practice. She calmed down after a few minutes. Try making your own sentences now. One more useful verb is look after. It means to take care of. Say with me, I look after my little brother. She looks after the garden. Practice. Who looks after the dog when you are away? And let's end this part with a reflective practice. Think about your own day from morning to evening and try to describe it using as many phrasal verbs as possible. For example, I got up early, turned off my alarm, washed up, and put on my clothes. I set off for work, picked up a coffee, and later handed in my report. After work, I picked up some groceries, cleaned up the kitchen, and then took off my shoes to relax. This kind of personal practice will make the phrasal verbs truly part of your natural speech. When we think about phrasal verbs in conversations with friends, one of the most common is catch up. This means talking to someone you haven't seen in a while and sharing updates. For example, I want to catch up with my old school friend this weekend. Or, let's catch up over coffee. Repeat after me. Let's catch up soon. I need to catch up with my cousin. This phrasal verb is very natural and shows warmth when you meet people after some time. Now, let's imagine a role play. I'll say the first line and you respond with the practice phrase. Me. Hey, it's been so long, we should. You. Catch up soon. Me. Do you have time tomorrow? I'd like to. You. Catch up over coffee. Excellent. Practice this rhythm until you feel the natural friendliness in the words. Another useful one is bring up. To bring up means to introduce a topic into a conversation. You might say, he brought up the problem during the meeting. Or, don't bring up politics at dinner. Repeat with me. She brought up an interesting idea. I didn't want to bring up that subject. Practice your own example now. Closely related is come up with. This means to create or suggest something. She came up with a brilliant plan. Can you come up with a solution? Repeat. I need to come up with a new idea. He came up with a funny story. Try making your own sentence using come up with. Now, imagine this dialogue. A. Who brought up the idea in the meeting? B. Sarah brought it up. A. And who came up with the solution? B. John came up with it. This kind of paired practice helps you link similar phrasal verbs. Another essential one is look forward to. This means you are excited about something in the future. I look forward to meeting you. She is looking forward to the holiday. Repeat. I look forward to our next class. They are looking forward to the trip. Use it in your daily life when you're talking about plans. Now, let's practice phrasal verbs for work and study. At school or in the office, you may need to point out something. She pointed out the mistake in the report. Can you point out the main idea? Repeat after me. I'd like to point out an error. He pointed out the advantages. Good. Another work-related phrasal verb is go over. It means to review or examine something carefully. Let's go over the answers together. The teacher went over the lesson again. Say it with me. We should go over the details before signing. He went over the contract carefully. Try your own example now. Sometimes you need to figure out a solution. This means to understand or solve something. I can't figure out this math problem. She figured out how to fix the computer. Repeat. I need to figure out the answer. They figured out a way to save money. Notice how natural it sounds compared to just solve. Let's pause for a practice activity. I'll give you situations and you respond with the correct phrasal verb. Situation. You carefully check details. Answer. Go over. Situation. You introduce a new topic in discussion. Answer. Bring up. Situation. You invent or suggest an idea. Answer. Come up with. Situation. You finally understand something. Answer. Figure out. Good. These are daily life friendly and will appear often in natural conversation. Now let's talk about phrasal verbs used when relaxing or enjoying free time. A very common one is hang out. It means to spend time with someone informally. We hung out at the park. Do you want to hang out after class? Repeat. Let's hang out this weekend. They usually hang out at the mall. Practice with your own plan. I like to hang out at the cafe near my house. Another casual one is chill out. It's like relax or calm down. Let's chill out and watch a movie. She chilled out at home all day. Say with me. Chill out, don't stress too much. They chilled out by the beach. Now let's imagine a short conversation using these. A. What are you doing today? B. Not much, just chilling out at home. A. Do you want to hang out later? B. Yes, let's hang out in the evening. Great. These small phrasal verbs make your English feel friendly and modern. Let's continue with travel again. Another important one is check in. You check in at a hotel or airport. We checked in at the hotel at noon. You need to check in 2 hours before the flight. Repeat after me. I checked in at the airport early. She checked in online. The opposite is check out. At a hotel, you check out when you leave. We checked out in the morning, or in a shop, you check out at the counter. You can also say check out when you want someone to look at something. Check out this new song. Practice. Let's check out that new restaurant. I checked out the library book yesterday. Now let's do a mini exercise. I'll give the sentence without the phrasal verb, and you fill it in. Sentence. We are at the hotel at 3 o'clock. Answer. Checked in. Sentence. They eat of the hotel before noon. Answer. Checked out. Sentence. Hey, this video, it's amazing. Answer. Check out. Excellent. Another daily action is fill out. This means completing a form or document. Please fill out this form. He filled out the application yesterday. Repeat. I need to fill out some papers. She filled out the survey. When something breaks, you might fix up or set up. They fixed up the old house. I set up my computer last night. Repeat. He set up a new account online. We fixed up the room before the guests arrived. These are flexible in many situations. Now, let's connect to emotions again. When someone recovers from sadness, we say they get over it. She finally got over her fear. It took him months to get over the breakup. Repeat. I need to get over my mistakes. They got over the illness quickly. Another emotional phrase is open up. It means to share feelings honestly. He opened up about his problems. She opened up to her best friend. Repeat. Sometimes it's hard to open up. He finally opened up after many years. Let's practice with a role play. Me. I was surprised when she started to. You. Open up about her life. Me. It took him a long time to you get over the breakup. Very natural, very human. Now, let's practice combining different phrasal verbs in a story. Imagine a student named Emma. She gets up at 7 and washes up quickly. She puts on her uniform and sets off for school. At school, she hands in her homework and goes over the lesson with her teacher. During break, she hangs out with friends. Later, she figures out a tough math problem and cheers up after getting the answer right. After school, she picks up some snacks and heads home. She cleans up the kitchen after dinner and chills out by watching TV. Finally, she takes off her shoes and checks out a new book online before going to bed. Notice how many phrasal verbs fit naturally in this small daily story. Now, let's try it with you. Think about your own day and tell it again, but with as many phrasal verbs as possible. For example, I got up late, then I washed up and put on my clothes. I set off to meet my friend and we caught up at the cafe. She brought up an interesting idea and I came up with a joke. Later, I checked out a new shop and filled out a form for membership. At night, I chilled out with music and finally took off my shoes to rest. This way, you are building fluency by weaving phrasal verbs into your real life. Now, let's focus on some communication phrasal verbs. Speak up means to talk louder. Please, speak up, I can't hear you. Shut up is rude, but you may hear it in movies. Shut up means stop talking. Another is butt in, which means interrupt. He always butts in during meetings. Repeat with me. Can you speak up a little? Don't butt in when we are talking. Another one is carry on. It means continue. Please carry on with your story. They carried on working despite the noise. Say it with me. Carry on, don't stop. She carried on singing even though it was raining. Let's pause and practice with substitution. Sentence. Continue reading, please. Answer. Carry on reading, please. Sentence. Interrupting is rude. Answer. Butting in is rude. Sentence. Say it louder. Answer. Speak up. Very good. We can also use workout. It has two meanings, exercise and solve a problem. I work out at the gym every day. The problem worked out in the end. Repeat. Let's work out together tomorrow. They worked out the disagreement peacefully. Finally, for this part, let's add run into. It means meeting someone unexpectedly. I ran into my teacher at the supermarket. She ran into her old friend downtown. Repeat. I ran into an old classmate yesterday. We ran into trouble during the trip. Now let's make a practice conversation using many of these. Hey, I ran into Sarah yesterday. Really? Did you catch up with her? Yes, we hung out for a while. B. Did she bring up her new job? A. Yes, she came up with some interesting ideas too. B. That's great! I look forward to meeting her again. This shows how naturally phrasal verbs connect ideas in real conversations. When we continue exploring phrasal verbs, it's important to notice how many of them are used in everyday problem-solving situations. For example, sort out. This means to organize or fix something. You can say, I need to sort out my closet this weekend. Or, they sorted out their misunderstanding. Repeat with me. I'll sort out my papers. She sorted out the problem quickly. Notice how natural it feels when compared to just solve. Another very useful one is find out. This means to discover information. For example, I found out the truth yesterday. She found out about the surprise party. Repeat after me. I need to find out the answer. He found out the news. Practice with your own example now. Let's build a small exercise. I will give you a plain sentence, and you will repeat it using a phrasal verb. Sentence. I discovered the secret. Answer. I found out the secret. Sentence. She solved the problem. Answer. She sorted out the problem. Sentence. We discovered the truth. Answer. We found out the truth. This is how you make your phrasal verb usage automatic. Now let's move to another phrasal verb. Give up. To give up means to stop trying. Don't give up on your dreams. She gave up smoking. Repeat with me. He gave up playing football after the injury. We never give up on our goals. Remember, this is a motivational phrase often heard in daily conversation. Closely related is carry on, which you already practiced. Together, these two verbs show opposite ideas, stop or continue. Practice the contrast. Don't give up. Carry on. Again. Don't give up. Carry on. This rhythm can encourage you when speaking. Let's now practice phrasal verbs about social connections. One of the most useful is meet up. This means to arrange to see someone. Let's meet up after work. We met up at the park. Repeat. I want to meet up with my old friend. Shall we meet up this weekend? Another is show up. This means to appear or arrive. He didn't show up to the party. She always shows up late. Repeat. Please show up on time. He showed up unexpectedly. Try making your own sentences now. Now let's combine them in a short conversation. A. Do you want to meet up tomorrow? B. Sure, what time should I show up? Show up at 7. We can catch up over dinner. This little exchange is filled with natural phrasal verbs. Another one you hear often is drop by. It means to visit someone casually, usually without planning. She dropped by my house yesterday. I'll drop by the office later. Repeat. Can you drop by for a cup of tea? They dropped by just to say hello. And then there is drop off. This has two meanings: delivering someone or something, or becoming sleepy. I'll drop off the package tomorrow. Can you drop me off at the station? He dropped off during the lecture. Repeat with me. Please drop off the kids at school. I almost dropped off while reading. Context tells you which meaning fits. Let's practice with quick prompts. Situation: you fall asleep suddenly. Answer: drop off. Situation: you visit casually. Answer: drop by. Situation: you arrive late. Answer: show up late. Situation: you arrange to see someone. Answer: meet up. Very good. Now let's explore some phrasal verbs connected with technology and communication. One is log in. Please log in with your password. I couldn't log in to my account. Repeat after me. I log in every morning. She logged in successfully. Another is log out. Don't forget to log out when you finish. He logged out of his email. Repeat. Please log out before leaving the computer. I logged out for security. We also say set up when preparing accounts or devices. I set up my new phone yesterday. She set up her online profile. Repeat. Can you set up the Wi-Fi? He set up a new email address. And then we have backup. This means to make a copy. Don't forget to back up your files. He backed up the important data. Repeat. I back up my photos regularly. She backed up her documents. These are modern phrasal verbs you'll hear often in tech conversations. Now let's shift back to feelings and reactions. Breakdown is common. It can mean an emotional collapse or a machine that stops working. My car broke down on the way home. She broke down in tears after hearing the news. Repeat. The computer broke down again. He broke down when he lost his job. Practice both meanings so you can recognize them easily. Another is cheer up, which we saw before, but let's practice again because it's so useful. Cheer up, it's not so bad. The gift cheered her up. Repeat. He always cheers me up when I'm sad. They tried to cheer her up. Now let's try a role play focused on emotions. Me. What happened to your car yesterday? You. It broke down on the way home. Me. And how was she after the exam? You. She broke down in tears. Me. Did anyone try to help her cheer up? You. Yes, her friends cheered her up. Good. Now the verbs connect naturally with the situation. Another group of phrasal verbs describes progress. Keep up means to maintain the same level. Keep up the good work. She walks so fast I can't keep up with her. Repeat after me. I keep up with the news every day. He can't keep up with the class. Then there is catch on, which means to understand or become popular. The student quickly caught on to the lesson. That song caught on very fast. Repeat. I didn't catch on at first. This style is catching on worldwide. Also useful is take up, which means to start a new activity. She took up painting last year. He has taken up jogging. Repeat. I want to take up a new hobby. They took up yoga together. Let's practice with substitutions again. Sentence. Start a new activity. Answer. Take up. Sentence. Understand the idea. Answer. Catch on. Sentence. Maintain the pace. Answer. Keep up. Perfect. Now imagine a little story. John took up cooking during the summer. At first, he couldn't keep up with the recipes, but slowly he caught on. He didn't give up and carried on practicing every day. Soon he was able to cook for his whole family. See how these phrasal verbs describe growth and progress naturally. Now let's focus on phrasal verbs about appearance and behavior. Dress up means to wear formal clothes. We dressed up for the wedding. He always dresses up for work. Repeat. I dressed up for the party. She likes to dress up on weekends. The opposite is dress down. It means wearing casual clothes. On Fridays, we can dress down at the office. He dressed down in jeans and a t-shirt. Repeat after me. We dressed down for the picnic. She dressed down yesterday. Also, act up means misbehave. The child is acting up in class. My computer is acting up again. Repeat. The dog acted up during the walk. The software is acting up. Notice how flexible this verb is. It applies to both people and machines. And then there's show off. It means to brag or display. He likes to show off his new car. She showed off her dance moves. Repeat. Don't show off too much. They showed off at the competition. Let's practice with role play again. Me. Why is the child so noisy today? You. He's acting up. Me. Why are they wearing suits? You. They dressed up for the party. Me. And why is he talking loudly about his car? You. He's showing off. Excellent. Another useful group of phrasal verbs is about money. Save up means to collect money slowly. I'm saving up for a new phone. She saved up to buy a car. Repeat. They are saving up for a trip. I'm saving up for college. Pay back means to return borrowed money. I'll pay you back tomorrow. She paid back the loan early. Repeat after me. Don't forget to pay back your friend. He still hasn't paid me back. Run out of means you have no more left. We ran out of milk. She ran out of time. Repeat. I ran out of money. They ran out of ideas. Now let's practice quickly. Situation. You return borrowed money. Answer. Pay back. Situation. You collect money for a goal. Answer. Save up. Situation. You have no more supplies. Answer. Run out of. And let's combine these in a story. Anna was saving up for a new computer. She finally bought it after paying back her friend who had lent her some money. One day, she ran out of internet data, so she had to wait until the next morning to log in again. This short story contains everyday life with phrasal verbs. Finally, let's close this part with phrasal verbs about time management. Put off means to delay. Don't put off your homework. She put off the meeting until Friday. Repeat after me. I can't put off the decision any longer. They put off the trip because of rain. Another is end up. This means the final result. We ended up staying home. He ended up working late. Repeat. I ended up buying the cheaper one. She ended up moving to another city. One more is show up late, which you practiced, but let's add turn up. It also means to appear. He turned up at the party unexpectedly. She didn't turn up to class today. Repeat. Did anyone turn up? They finally turned up after hours. Now, let's role play to finish this section. Me. Did he delay the work? You. Yes, he put it off. Me. What was the final result? You. He ended up staying home. Me. Did anyone arrive? You. Yes, a few people turned up. Perfect. You're now building phrasal verb fluency for daily life. One of the most common areas where phrasal verbs appear is when we talk about daily responsibilities and tasks. A very useful one is take care of, though it is often replaced with the phrasal verb look after. I look after my younger brother when my parents are away. She looked after the dog all weekend. Repeat after me. I look after my house plants. He looks after his grandmother. Practice saying it with your own examples about people or things you care for. Another essential one is take over. This means to assume control or responsibility. She will take over the project next month. He took over the company after his father retired. Repeat. Can you take over while I'm gone? The new manager took over last year. In conversations, this shows how responsibilities can change hands. Let's make a little practice activity. Sentence. She started controlling the meeting. Answer. She took over the meeting. Sentence. He cares for the children. Answer. He looks after the children. These small switches make your English sound much more natural. Now let's focus on family and relationships. A useful phrasal verb is grow up. It means to develop from childhood to adulthood. I grew up in a small town. They grew up together. Repeat after me. Where did you grow up? He grew up in London. Practice by telling your own story. I agree. Up in. Another is bring up, which you practiced earlier, but remember, it can also mean to raise children. They brought up their children with care. She was brought up by her grandparents. Repeat. He was brought up in a strict household. They brought up 3 children. Now imagine this dialogue. A. Where did you grow up? B. I grew up near the coast. A. Who brought you up? B. My parents brought me up with love and discipline. These phrasal verbs naturally tell your life story. Let's turn to phrasal verbs connected with problems and solutions. Deal with is one of the most common, though sometimes replaced with sort out. I had to deal with a lot of stress. She is dealing with a difficult customer. Repeat. We must deal with this issue. He dealt with the problem calmly. Another is put up with. This means to tolerate something unpleasant. I can't put up with the noise. She put up with his bad habits for years. Repeat after me. I won't put up with lies. They put up with the long commute every day. Practice substitution now. Sentence. She tolerated the noise. Answer. She put up with the noise. Sentence. He handled the problem. Answer. He dealt with the problem. Now let's connect with travel again. A very useful one is get on and get off. These describe entering and leaving transport. I got on the bus at 9. She got off the train at the next station. Repeat after me. We got on the plane at noon. He got off the taxi at the hotel. Everyday travel feels smoother when you use these phrasal verbs. There is also check out and check in, which we practiced. Let's combine them with get on and get off in a travel story. We checked in at the hotel, then we got on the bus for sightseeing. Later, we got off at the museum and finally checked out of the hotel the next morning. Notice how all the phrasal verbs fit naturally in one flow. Now let's look at take off again, but in the travel sense. It also means when planes leave the ground. The plane took off at 6. Our flight takes off soon. Repeat. The flight took off on time. The plane will take off in 10 minutes. Let's practice with quick prompts. Situation. You enter a bus. Answer. Get on. Situation. You leave a bus. Answer. Get off. Situation. The plane begins its journey. Answer. Take off. Now let's move to phrasal verbs connected with improvement and progress. Build up means to increase gradually. He built up his confidence. She built up her savings. Repeat after me. They built up their strength. I'm building up my vocabulary every day. Another is catch up on. It means to do something you missed earlier. I need to catch up on my sleep. She caught up on her homework. Repeat. We caught up on old times. He caught up on the news this morning. And one more is brush up on. It means to review something you haven't practiced for a while. I need to brush up on my Spanish before the trip. She brushed up on her grammar rules. Repeat after me. I should brush up on my history knowledge. He brushed up on his driving skills. Now practice substitution. Sentence. He increased his strength. Answer. He built up his strength. Sentence. She reviewed her grammar. Answer. She brushed up on her grammar. Sentence. I did the work I missed. Answer. I caught up on the work. Let's make a mini story. Lisa had to catch up on her assignments after being sick. She brushed up on her notes and slowly built up her confidence again. This is how phrasal verbs describe recovery and progress in daily life. Now let's focus on entertainment and free time. A common verb is try out. It means to test something. I want to try out this new recipe. She tried out a new hairstyle. Repeat after me. They tried out the new game. He tried out the gym equipment. Another is turn on and turn off. Very basic but essential. Turn on the light. Turn off the TV. Repeat. She turned on the radio. He turned off his phone. Also useful is give away. This means to donate or reveal. They gave away old clothes. She gave away the secret. Repeat. I gave away my books. He gave away the ending of the movie. And finally, hand out. It means to distribute. The teacher handed out the papers. She handed out flyers at the station. Repeat after me. He handed out free samples. They handed out invitations. Let's connect these in practice. Me. What did you do with your old clothes? You. I gave them away. Me. What did the teacher do with the papers? You. She handed them out. Me. Can you test this recipe? You. Yes, I'll try it out. Excellent. Now let's look at stress and relaxation verbs. Wind down means to relax after activity. I like to wind down with a book before bed. They wound down after the long day. Repeat. He winds down with music. We wound down by the fireplace. Another is slow down. Please, Slow down. You're driving too fast. Life slows down in the countryside. Repeat after me. She slowed down after her illness. He needs to slow down at work. And another is calm down. Please calm down. Everything is okay. She calmed down after a while. Repeat. He needs to calm down before speaking. They calm down eventually. Now try this practice. Situation. You want to relax. Answer. Wind down. Situation. You want to reduce speed. Answer. Slow down. Situation. You want to reduce emotions. Answer. Calm down. Now let's imagine an evening routine story. After work, Tom slowed down by walking home instead of taking the bus. When he reached home, he calmed down with a hot shower. Later, he wound down by reading a good book before bed. Notice how phrasal verbs make even simple actions sound natural and conversational. Now let's look at learning and practice. A very common one is pick up on. It means to notice or learn something naturally. He picked up on her accent. She quickly picked up on the instructions. Repeat after me. I picked up on the mistake. They picked up on the signal. Another is go ahead. It means to proceed. Go ahead, start speaking. She went ahead with her plan. Repeat. Please go ahead with the presentation. He went ahead despite the risks. And then there is hold on. This means to wait. Hold on, I'm coming. Can you hold on for a moment? Repeat. Hold on while I check. She held on to the railing tightly. Practice with quick dialogue. A. Should I start now? Yes. Go ahead. A. Wait, I need a moment. B. Hold on. Did you notice the mistake? B. Yes, I picked up on it. Finally, let's end this part with phrasal verbs for challenges and perseverance. Work on means to improve or develop something. I'm working on my pronunciation. She worked on her project all night. Repeat after me. They are working on a solution. He worked on his confidence. Another is stick to. It means to continue with a plan. Stick to your schedule. She sticks to her diet. Repeat. We stick to the rules. He stuck to his decision. And one more is carry out. It means to complete a task or action. The scientist carried out an experiment. She carried out her plan successfully. Repeat. He carried out the instructions. They carried out the survey. Now let's combine these into a motivational mini practice. Me. How can I improve my English? You. Work on your speaking skills. Me. What should I do with my plan? You. Stick to it. Me. And how do I complete my project? You. Carry it out step by step. This repetition helps you master the natural rhythm of phrasal verbs in everyday motivation. When we continue with phrasal verbs, it's helpful to think about how they shape everyday conversations, especially when we talk about plans and decisions. One very common phrasal verb is make up. It can mean to invent, to reconcile, or to compensate. For example, she made up an excuse for being late. They made up after the argument. I'll make up the missed class tomorrow. Repeat after me. He made up a story. They made up and became friends again. I'll make up the lost time later. This one phrasal verb has many meanings, so context is important. Another important one is figure out, which you've seen before. But let's go deeper. I finally figured out how to use this app. She figured out the answer by thinking carefully. Repeat. Can you figure out the solution? We figured out the directions. Try making your own sentence now. Now let's combine make up and figure out in a short role play. A. Why was he late? B. He made up an excuse. A. How did she solve the problem? B. She figured it out after some time. This type of exercise helps you naturally place phrasal verbs into everyday dialogues. Another useful one is set up, which you've practiced in different contexts. It can mean to arrange or prepare. They set up the chairs for the meeting. She set up her new laptop yesterday. Repeat after me. I set up an appointment for tomorrow. He set up the microphone before the event. This is an essential phrasal verb for professional conversations. Closely related is put together. This means to assemble or organize. We put together a new plan. He put together the furniture easily. Repeat. They put together a team. She put together the presentation. Now let's practice with substitution. Sentence. He arranged the meeting. Answer. He set up the meeting. Sentence. She assembled the presentation. Answer. She put together the presentation. This practice makes phrasal verbs replace for malverbs in your daily speech. Let's move into phrasal verbs about energy and motivation. Wake up is common, but it also means to become alert or aware. Wake up, it's time to go. He needs to wake up and take responsibility. Repeat after me. She woke up early today. We need to wake up to the problem. Another is get back to. It means to return to something. I'll get back to you later. She got back to her work after lunch. Repeat. Can you get back to me with the answer? He got back to studying after the break. And then we have carry on, which you've practiced. Let's contrast it with give in, which means to finally agree or surrender. She gave in to the pressure. He gave in after arguing for hours. Repeat. Don't give in so easily. They gave in to his demands. Practice dialogue. Me. Did she continue working? You. Yes, she carried on. Me. Did he surrender? You. Yes, he gave in. This shows how opposite phrasal verbs express different outcomes in daily life. Now let's explore phrasal verbs about responsibilities again. Take on means to accept a responsibility. She took on a new project. He is taking on more work. Repeat after me. They took on the challenge. I'll take on extra tasks if needed. Another is give out. It can mean to distribute or to stop functioning. The teacher gave out the assignments. My phone battery gave out yesterday. Repeat. She gave out free samples. The engine gave out after many years. And then there's sort out, which we used before. Let's deepen that with examples. We need to sort out the bills. He sorted out the misunderstanding quickly. Repeat. They sorted out the schedule. I'll sort out the details later. Mini practice. Situation. You accept responsibility. Answer. Take on. Situation. You distribute items. Answer. Give out. Situation. You organize a problem. Answer. Sort out. Very natural. Let's shift to daily home activities. Do up means to fasten or decorate. Do up your coat, or it's cold. They did up the house beautifully. Repeat. She did up the buttons. We did up the living room for the party. Another is tidy up. It means to clean or arrange neatly. I need to tidy up my desk. She tidied up her room before guests arrived. Repeat after me. He tidied up the kitchen. They tidied up quickly. Also, clear up can mean to tidy or to resolve. The weather cleared up in the afternoon. She cleared up the misunderstanding. Repeat. I cleared up the mess. He cleared up the confusion. Now, let's put them together. Imagine you're preparing for a guest. You do up your coat to go out shopping. You tidy up the house before the guests come. Later, the weather clears up, so you decide to sit outside. And during conversation, you clear up a misunderstanding. Notice how phrasal verbs weave naturally into ordinary stories. Now let's move to phrasal verbs about progress and improvement again. Step up means to increase or take action. He stepped up to lead the team. She stepped up her training before the race. Repeat. They stepped up their efforts. I'll step up if needed. Another is level up, often used in games or skills. He leveled up in the video game. She leveled up her English vocabulary. Repeat. I want to level up my skills. They leveled up their performance. Also useful is keep at. It means to continue trying. Keep at your studies. She kept at the project until it was done. Repeat. He kept at his practice every day. They kept at it despite challenges. Let's practice with prompts. Situation. He became stronger by trying more. Answer. He stepped up. Situation. She improved her skills. Answer. She leveled up. Situation. They continued working despite problems. Answer. They kept at it. Now let's focus on communication again. Speak out means to express openly. She spoke out against injustice. He spoke out about the is. Sue. Repeat. I need to speak out more in class. They spoke out bravely. Another is shut down. It can mean to close something or to stop operating. The factory shut down last year. The computer shut down suddenly. Repeat. They shut down the shop early. He shut down his social media account. And then there's turn down. It means to refuse. She turned down the invitation. He turned down the job offer. Repeat after me. I turned down his request. They turned down the chance. Practice dialogue. Me. Did she close the business? You. Yes, she shut it down. Me. Did he refuse the offer? You. Yes, he turned it down. Me. Did they express themselves loudly? You. Yes, they spoke out. Now let's explore emotional phrasal verbs again. Break into means to start doing suddenly. She broke into tears. He broke into laughter. Repeat after me. They broke into song. He broke into a smile. Another is hold back. It means to stop yourself. She held back her anger. He held back the tears. Repeat. Don't hold back your opinion. They held back their feelings. And one more is open up, which we used before. Let's connect them all. Sometimes people hold back their emotions, but eventually they break into laughter or tears. And finally, they open up and share what's inside. This is how emotional phrasal verbs capture human experiences. Now let's connect to phrasal verbs in professional life again. Draw up means to prepare documents. The lawyer drew up the contract. She drew up the plan. Repeat after me. They drew up a schedule. I drew up a list. Another is carry on with. It means continue doing. He carried on with his work despite noise. She carried on with the project. Repeat. They carried on with their studies. I carried on with the plan. And then follow through. It means to complete what you started. She followed through on her promise. He followed through with the plan. Repeat. We must follow through. They followed through to the end. Now, let's do substitution. Sentence. She prepared a contract. Answer. She drew up a contract. Sentence. He continued his studies. Answer. He carried on with his studies. Sentence. They completed their promise. Answer. They followed through on their promise. Finally, let's close this part with a motivational mini-story filled with phrasal verbs. Mark decided to take on a new project. He drew up a clear plan and set up the schedule. At first, he struggled, but he kept at his tasks and figured out each challenge. He refused to give in and instead stepped up his efforts. Even when he wanted to put it off, he stuck to his plan. In the end, he carried out the work successfully and followed through with every detail. This shows how phrasal verbs don't just describe actions, they tell the story of persistence and success. When we talk about phrasal verbs, we also need to practice those that help us describe unexpected events. A very common one is come across. It means to find something by chance. I came across an old photo while cleaning. She came across a wonderful book in the library. Repeat after me. He came across a useful website. They came across some old letters. Notice how natural it sounds to use this instead of just saying, find accidentally. Another one is run into, which you've seen before, but let's practice again because it is extremely common. I ran into an old friend at the supermarket. She ran into her teacher downtown. Repeat. We ran into some problems with the car. He ran into traffic on his way home. Practice with your own example now. Now let's combine come across and run into in a practice role play. Did you find anything while cleaning? B. Yes, I came across an old letter. A. And what happened at the mall? B. I ran into an old classmate there. This simple exercise shows how phrasal verbs naturally describe surprises in daily life. Another very useful one is bring about. This means to cause something to happen. The new law brought about big changes. Her speech brought about a lot of discussion. Repeat after me. The storm brought about delays. They brought about reforms in the system. Closely related is lead to. The argument led to a breakup. Hard work leads to success. Repeat. The accident led to delays. His actions led to a promotion. These two phrasal verbs are perfect for describing cause and effect in real conversations. Now let's practice substitution. Sentence. The fight caused a breakup. Answer. The fight brought about a breakup. Sentence. His work caused a promotion. Answer. His work led to a promotion. Very natural. Let's move into phrasal verbs used in studying and learning. Hand out is one we saw earlier. But let's expand with hand back. The teacher handed back the test papers. She handed back the borrowed book. Repeat after me. He handed back the phone after checking it. They handed back the keys to the landlord. Another is write down. This means to note something. Write down this number. She wrote down the address quickly. Repeat. I always write down my ideas. He wrote down the phone number. And one more is cross out. It means to remove something by drawing a line. Cross out the wrong answer. She crossed out the mistake. Repeat after me. He crossed out the incorrect word. They crossed out the old prices. Now let's practice a classroom-style exercise. Me. Please add this phone number so you don't forget it. You. Write down this phone number. Me. The teacher. Add the wrong answer. You. Crossed out the wrong answer. Me. She weighed the books to the students. You. Handed out the books. Excellent. Now let's shift to daily activities again. A common one is eat out. It means to have a meal at a restaurant instead of at home. We ate out last night. She loves to eat out on weekends. Repeat. They are eating out tonight. I rarely eat out because I cook at home. Another is cut back on. It means to reduce. I need to cut back on sugar. They cut back on spending. Repeat after me. She cut back on coffee. He cut back on junk food. And one more is cut out. It means to completely stop. He cut out smoking last year. She cut out fast food from her diet. Repeat. They cut out unnecessary expenses. I cut out sweets for health. Now let's connect them in a short lifestyle story. Last month, Anna decided to cut back on coffee. Later, she cut out sugar completely. To celebrate, she ate out at her favorite restaurant, but she still tried to make healthier choices. Notice how phrasal verbs create a natural flow in describing habits and lifestyle changes. Let's focus now on phrasal verbs for emergencies and quick reactions. Call off means to cancel, as you already practiced. But let's add call out. This means to shout loudly or to criticize publicly. She called out for help. He was called out for lying. Repeat after me. The teacher called out his name. They called out the unfair rule. Another is hold up. It can mean delay or robbery depending on the context. The traffic held us up. The bank was held up yesterday. Repeat. She was held up in a meeting. The train was held up by the storm. And then there is backup, which you practiced in technology, but it also means to support someone. I'll back you up if you need help. She backed up her friend during the argument. Repeat. They backed me up. He backed up his colleague. Practice dialogue. A. Why were you late? B. I was held up in traffic. A. Who supported you? B. My friends backed me up. A. What did she do during the argument? B. She called him out. Perfect. Now let's move into travel and adventure again. Head out, Moss. Ian's to leave. I'm heading out now. They headed out early in the morning. Repeat after me. She is heading out for work. We headed out before sunrise. Another is set out, which means to begin a journey. They set out on their adventure at dawn. He set out to find a new job. Repeat. She set out to improve her English. We set out for the mountains. And one more is check out of. We checked out of the hotel at noon. He checked out of the clinic after recovery. Repeat. They checked out of the library with new books. I checked out of the guest house. Now let's make a mini travel story. John set out on a trip with his friends. They headed out early in the morning and later checked out of their hotel after 3 days. Phrasal verbs make the description vivid and natural. Let's return to phrasal verbs in conversations. Bring up you've practiced, but now add chip in. This means to contribute. We all chipped in for the gift. They chipped in to help their friend. Repeat. I chipped in some money. She chipped in with her ideas. Another is speak up, which means to talk louder or more confidently. Please speak up. I can't hear you. She spoke up during the meeting. Repeat after me. He spoke up bravely. They spoke up for their rights. And then there's butt in, which you've seen, but let's use it again. Don't butt in while we're talking. He always butts in with jokes. Repeat. She butted in with her opinion. They butted in at the wrong time. Practice dialogue. Me. What should I do if I want to contribute? You. Chip in with your money or ideas. Me. What should I do if my voice is too quiet? You. Speak up. Me. What should I avoid doing when people are talking? You. Don't butt in. Excellent. Now, let's turn to emotional resilience. Bounce back means to recover quickly. She bounced back after the illness. He bounced back from failure. Repeat. I bounced back after the test. They bounced back stronger. Another is break down, which you've practiced. Connect it with get over. She broke down after the accident but got over it later. Repeat after me. He broke down in tears. They got over the problem eventually. And one more is move on. It means to continue after something difficult. She moved on after the breakup. He moved on to another job. Repeat. They moved on to new opportunities. I moved on after failure. Mini motivational practice. Me. She was sad after losing, but what happened later? You. She bounced back. Me. What did he do after the breakup? You. He moved on. Me. And what did they do after the accident? U. They got over it. Great. Now let's end this part with phrasal verbs about achievements. Pull off means to succeed despite difficulty. She pulled off a great performance. He pulled off the win at the last minute. Repeat after me. They pulled off the surprise. I pulled off the presentation well. Another is carry out, which means to complete a task. The scientists carried out an experiment. She carried out the plan successfully. Repeat. He carried out the work. They carried out the survey. And finally, live up to. This means to meet expectations. The film lived up to the hype. She lived up to her reputation. Repeat. He lived up to his promise. They lived up to the challenge. Practice substitution. Sentence. She succeeded in the performance. Answer. She pulled off the performance. Sentence. He met expectations. Answer. He lived up to expectations. Sentence. They completed the experiment. Answer. They carried out the experiment. And now a final short story for this section. Emma was nervous about her project, but she pulled it off successfully. Her work lived up to her teacher's expectations, and she proudly carried out every detail of the plan. See how phrasal verbs highlight determination and success. When you continue building your English fluency, you'll notice that phrasal verbs often describe progress in goals, teamwork, and collaboration. One of the most useful is team up. It means to work together with others. They teamed up to finish the project. We should team up for the competition. Repeat after me. He teamed up with a colleague. We teamed up to solve the problem. Another is join in. It means to participate. She joined in the game. He joined in the singing. Repeat. They joined in the fun. I joined in the conversation. And another is chip in, which you practiced earlier, but let's use it here too. We all chipped in some money. She chipped in with her ideas. Repeat after me. They chipped in for the party. He chipped in a small amount. Now let's imagine a dialogue with these teamwork verbs. A. How did you finish the project so fast? B. We teamed up and chipped in with ideas. Did everyone participate? B. Yes, they all joined in. This shows how phrasal verbs highlight collaboration naturally. Let's move into phrasal verbs used in planning. Draw up you practiced, but let's add map out. This means to plan carefully. We mapped out our trip in detail. She mapped out her career path. Repeat. I mapped out the schedule. They mapped out the strategy. Another is set out to. This means to begin with intention. She set out to become a doctor. He set out to improve his English. Repeat after me. I set out to finish my book. They set out to climb the mountain. And then there is layout. It means to arrange clearly, often in explanation. She laid out the plan for the team. He laid out the steps in detail. Repeat. They laid out the rules. I laid out my ideas. Practice substitution. Sentence. She explained the plan. Answer. She laid out the plan. Sentence. He planned his career carefully. Answer. He mapped out his career. Sentence. They began with the goal of improving. Answer. They set out to improve. Now let's talk about phrasal verbs for mistakes and corrections. Mess up is very common. I messed up the recipe. He messed up the presentation. Repeat after me. They messed up the plan. I messed up my schedule. Another is fix up, which we saw before. But here, it can also mean repair or make better. They fixed up the old house. She fixed up her laptop. Repeat. He fixed up his bike. We fixed up the broken chair. And then sort out, which means to organize or correct. She sorted out the mistake quickly. They sorted out their issues. Repeat. I'll sort out the files later. He sorted out the confusion. Let's role play. Me. What happened to the plan? You. I messed it up. Me. What did you do afterward? You. I sorted it out. Me. And how did they repair the house? You. They fixed it up. Good practice. Now let's explore phrasal verbs about discovery and knowledge. Look into means to investigate. The police are looking into the case. She looked into the matter. Repeat. I'll look into the problem. They are looking into new solutions. Another is find out about. I found out about the news yesterday. She found out about the surprise party. Repeat after me. We found out about the changes. He found out about the opportunity. And one more is dig into. This means to research deeply or sometimes to eat enthusiastically. She dug into the research papers. He dug into the meal. Repeat. They dug into the history of the place. I dug into the project details. Mini exercise. Situation. You investigate. Answer. Look into. Situation. You discover something. Answer. Find out about. Situation. You research deeply. Answer. Dig into. Now let's shift to health and habits. Workout means exercise, but also solving problems. I work out every morning. They worked out the details of the plan. Repeat after me. She works out at the gym. We worked out the disagreement. Another is cut down on. Similar to cut back on, it means reduce. I need to cut down on sugar. They cut down on costs. Repeat. He cut down on coffee. She cut down on spending. And one more is come down with. It means to become sick. She came down with the flu. He came down with a cold. Repeat after me. I came down with a fever last week. They came down with food poisoning. Now, let's connect them in a story. James came down with a cold, so he cut down on his work schedule and decided to work out less until he recovered. Phrasal verbs make this story natural and clear. Now let's explore phrasal verbs about surprises. Show up unexpectedly, but let's add pop up. It means to appear suddenly. A new shop popped up in town. Her name popped up in the conversation. Repeat. A window popped up on my screen. The topic popped up again. Another is spring up. It means to appear quickly. New buildings sprang up in the city. Problems sprang up during the meeting. Repeat after me. Shops sprang up everywhere. Ideas sprang up as they talked. And then there is turn up, which also means to appear. She turned up late at the party. He finally turned up at the office. Repeat. They turned up after an hour. Nobody turned up for the event. Practice prompts. Sentence. A shop appeared suddenly. Answer. A shop popped up. Sentence. New houses appeared quickly. Answer. Houses sprang up. Sentence. She arrived late. Answer. She turned up late. Now let's look at phrasal verbs about changes. Switch on and switch off, Let's add phase out. It means to remove something gradually. They phased out old machines. The school phased out uniforms. Repeat after me. We phased out the old system. He phased out his bad habits slowly. Another is fade away. It means to disappear slowly. The music faded away. Her voice faded away. Repeat. The pain faded away. The light faded away and then die out. It means to become extinct or vanish completely. Dinosaurs died out millions of years ago. The tradition is dying out. Repeat after me. Old customs have died out. Many species have died out. Now let's use them in practice. Me. What happened to the old machines? You. They were phased out. Me. What happened to the sound? You. It faded away. Me. What happened to the animals? You. They died out. Excellent. Let's now shift to work and responsibility again. Step down means to resign. The manager stepped down last year. She stepped down from her position. Repeat after me. He stepped down after 10 years. They stepped down quietly. Another is fill in for. It means to substitute. She filled in for the teacher. He filled in for his colleague at work. Repeat. Can you fill in for me tomorrow? They filled in for the absent worker. And one more is take over, which you practiced. Let's combine these. A manager stepped down, another person filled in for a short time, and finally, a new leader took over. Phrasal verbs describe the change of responsibility clearly. Now let's add some phrasal verbs about emotions again. Light up means to become bright or happy. Her face lit up when she saw him. The city lit up at night. Repeat after me. His eyes lit up with excitement. The room lit up with candles. Another is breakout. It can mean to escape, to begin suddenly, or to develop. War broke out in the region. He broke out of prison. She broke out in a rash. Repeat. Laughter broke out in the room. A fire broke out in the kitchen. And one more is hold on to. It means to keep tightly. Hold on to your dreams. He held on to the railing. Repeat. She held on to the book tightly. They held on to their traditions. Mini practice. Sentence. Her face became bright. Answer. Her face lit up. Sentence. A fire began suddenly. Answer. A fire broke out. Sentence. Keep your dreams. Answer. Hold on to your dreams. Now let's bring this section to a close with a motivating phrasal verb story. Sarah set out to improve her English. She mapped out a clear study plan and teamed up with her friends. At first, she messed up and felt discouraged, but her friends chipped in with support. She joined in every practice session and slowly caught up on what she had missed. Each time she wanted to give up, she carried on and held on to her dream. Over time, her face lit up with pride as she pulled off her goals. This is how phrasal verbs can tell the story of determination, teamwork, and success. As we reach the final part of this practice session, let's go even deeper into phrasal verbs that describe growth, change, and moving forward in life. One of the most powerful is move forward. It means to make progress after challenges. We need to move forward after the problem. She moved forward with her career. Repeat after me. He moved forward confidently. They moved forward after the mistake. Another one is step forward. It means to come up to help or to take action. Several people stepped forward to volunteer. She stepped forward to lead the team. Repeat. He stepped forward to help. They stepped forward bravely. And another is push ahead. It means to continue with determination. He pushed ahead with his studies. They pushed ahead despite difficulties. Repeat after me. She pushed ahead with her dream. We pushed ahead with the plan. Now let's role play. Me. What did she do after her failure? You. She moved forward with her goals. Me. What did they do in the project? You. They pushed ahead despite the challenges. Me. Who decided to take the lead? You. He stepped forward. D to lead. Excellent. Let's practice phrasal verbs for memory and recall. Bring back means to cause someone to remember. The song brings back old memories. This photo brings back childhood days. Repeat. That smell brings back memories. He brought back good souvenirs. Another is think back. It means to remember something. I often think back to my school days. She thought back to her childhood. Repeat after me. He thinks back to his travels often. They thought back to last summer. And one more is look back on. She looked back on her career with pride. He looked back on the experience happily. Repeat. I look back on my progress with joy. They looked back on their journey. Now let's combine them in practice. Me. What do you say when a photo causes a memory? You. It brings back memories. Me. What do you say when you recall childhood? You. I think back to childhood. Me. And what do you say when you remember your life with pride? You. I look back on my life with pride. Perfect. Let's focus on phrasal verbs for stress and challenges. Breakthrough means to overcome barriers. She broke through her fear of speaking. He broke through the obstacles. Repeat after me. They broke through the limits. I broke through my doubts. Another is get through. It means to manage or survive something. She got through the tough exam. He got through the interview. Repeat. They got through the crisis. I got through the day successfully. And one more is pull through. It means to recover from a serious challenge, often health-related. She pulled through the surgery. He pulled through the accident. Repeat. They pulled through together. I pulled through the hard times. Mini motivational practice. Me. How did she survive the exam? You. She got through it. Me. How did they overcome the barrier? You. They broke through it. Me. And how did he recover from the illness? You. He pulled through. Now let's focus on phrasal verbs for relationships again. Fall out means to have an argument and stop being friends. They fell out over money. She fell out with her best friend. Repeat. He fell out with his brother. We fell out after the fight. Another is make up with. It means to reconcile after a fight. They made up after the argument. She made up with her sister. Repeat after me. He made up with his boss. We made up and became friends again. And one more is patch up. It means to repair a relationship or fix something. They patched up their friendship. He patched up the hole in the wall. Repeat. She patched up with her parents. We patched up the situation. Practice dialogue. What happened between them? B. They fell out. A. What happened later? B. They made up. A. And how did they repair the relationship? B. They patched it up. Now let's move to phrasal verbs about curiosity and exploration. Check out, but let's add look around. We looked around the market. She looked around the new city. Repeat after me. He looked around the shop. They looked around the park. Another is search for, often used as look for. I'm looking for my keys. She looked for a new job. Repeat. They are looking for answers. He looked for his phone everywhere. And one more is seek out. It means to actively search with purpose. She sought out a mentor. He sought out new experiences. Repeat after me. They sought out advice. I sought out opportunities. Mini exercise. Sentence. I explored the market. Answer. I looked around the market. Sentence. I searched carefully for help. Answer. I sought out help. Sentence. I wanted to find my phone. Answer. I looked for my phone. Let's turn to phrasal verbs about endings and completions. Wrap up means to finish. Let's wrap up the meeting. She wrapped up her work quickly. Repeat. He wrapped up the project. We wrapped up the discussion. Another is finish off. It means to complete the last part. He finished off the cake. She finished off the project report. Repeat. They finished off the homework. I finished off my essay. And then there's close down. It means to permanently shut. The shop closed down last year. They closed down the factory. Repeat. He closed down his business. We closed down the cafe. Practice dialogue. Me. How do we say finish the meeting? You. Wrap up the meeting. Me. How do we say eat the last part of the cake? You. Finish off the cake. Me. How do we say permanently shut the shop? You. Close down the shop. Now let's add some advanced phrasal verbs that show reflection and change. Turn over means to flip or to give control. She turned over the page. He turned over the business to his son. Repeat after me. They turned over the documents. I turned over responsibility. Another is hand over. It means to pass something to another. The thief handed over the stolen money. She handed over the keys. Repeat. He handed over the phone. They handed over the report. And then take back. It means to retract or to return. I take back what I said. She took back the dress to the store. Repeat. He took back his words. We took back the books. Now, let's end this practice session with one last motivational story filled with phrasal verbs. Mia set out to teach her students phrasal verbs in a fun and clear way. At first, some learners messed up and fell behind, but they carried on and caught up with practice. Each day, they brushed up on old lessons and picked up on new ones. Sometimes they fell out over mistakes, but they always made up and patched up their teamwork. They mapped out goals, stuck to routines, and slowly built up confidence. In the end, they pulled off their dream of speaking fluently, and when they looked back on their journey, they realized every phrasal verb had brought about progress, laughter, and connection. So, as we wrap up this full session, remember this. Don't give up. Keep at it. Stick to your practice. And step forward with confidence. Every time you use a phrasal verb naturally, you are moving forward in your English journey. And I look forward to seeing how much you grow